The modern NBA podcast is a dangerous tool. It has given every retired, ringless point guard a microphone and the audacity to rewrite history. Two former players actually went on the internet and claimed that Stephen Curry is just a plug-and-play system asset. Monta Ellis claimed that if you simply swapped him for Curry on those Golden State teams, he would have the same amount of rings. Then Teague doubled down, stating that if you traded Curry for Damian Lillard, the results would be identical. Draymond Green had to step in, because apparently, we now have to explain the fundamental difference between a generational franchise architect and a guy who just shoots a lot. Let us open the books on 2012. The Golden State front office traded Monta Ellis to Milwaukee for an injured Andrew Bogut.
I'm awfully proud of these guys because it was an emotionally draining day for us. We had three guys that we are attached to, and it hurts. This is a business, but it hurts. And we were in the locker room, and I give my guys credit because even though it was an emotionally draining day,
the fans were so furious they literally booed owner Joe LaCobe off the floor during a jersey retirement ceremony. The public narrative was that the Warriors took a massive gamble on Curry and his glass ankles. But the analytics department knew the clinical truth. Monta Ellis was an ISO-heavy, undersized guard who needed 20 shots a night just to keep his team in the draft lottery. He was an empty-calorie scorer. The Warriors did not just choose Stephen Curry. They chose mathematical efficiency over hero ball. They excised an inefficient asset to build a dynasty, and Ellis has been bitter about that audit ever since. Then Teague decided to add his own theoretical math. He claimed that swapping Curry for Damian Lillard yields the exact same 4 championships. Teague is treating a multi-billion-dollar NBA dynasty like a MyNBA 2K simulation. Just drag and drop the point guard slider. Take Lillard's 30 points per game, copy-paste, and schedule a parade. Lillard is a phenomenal isolation scorer and a future Hall of Famer, but Teague's statement fundamentally misunderstands how the Golden State machine actually operates. Basketball is not a spreadsheet where usage rates are interchangeable. When you swap systems, the entire corporate structure collapses. Draymond Green is the defensive coordinator of this dynasty. He knows exactly whose gravity pays his bills. On his podcast, Green delivered a reality check to the fantasy general managers.
Monta Ellis' game and Steph Curry game are drastically different. So saying that you can incorporate Monta Ellis, as Monta Ellis said, in place of Steph, you have to change the whole offense because the offense in large part was built around Steph, but his gravity and the way the offense moves around him, you take Steph out and put Monta Ellis in, and it's not the same because it's not the same skill set.
That is just not how you win championships. You do not win championships by moving this player and this player. It is not just the basketball. It is the makeup of the person and how does that guy lead. Draymond is spelling it out for them. You cannot just swap a cultural cornerstone for a soloist and expect the engine to run. The Warriors' locker room survived Kevin Durant, Jordan Poole, and Draymond's own suspensions because Curry's ego never demanded the spotlight. Monta Ellis could not even share a backcourt without complaining to the media. Let us look at the tactical reality. Damian Lillard and Monta Ellis demand the basketball. They are traditional pick-and-roll operators who need to dribble to find their rhythm. Stephen Curry is a completely different species. He is a relocation nightmare. His off-ball movement creates an invisible gravitational pull that literally bends opposing defenses. When Curry runs the baseline, 2 professional defenders panic and follow him. That panic is what creates the 4-on-3 advantages for Draymond Green. If you replace Curry with Ellis, that entire geometric advantage vanishes. You do not get an open layup for a role player. You get Monta Ellis taking a contested mid-range jumper with 14 seconds left on the shot clock. The absolute irony here is staggering. Monta Ellis never played a single meaningful minute in an NBA Finals. He spent his career putting up high-volume numbers on mediocre teams. Jeff Teague was a solid starter who had to ride the bench in Milwaukee just to get his one championship ring. And these are the guys auditing Stephen Curry, a four-time champion, a two-time MVP, a player who literally broke the geometry of the basketball court and forced the entire league to change its defensive rulebook. While Ellis and Teague are arguing hypotheticals into a podcast microphone, Curry is still securing maximum contracts at 36 years old. That is not a coincidence. That is market value.
Who's to say Monta Ellis in our locker room of our championship teams? Who's to say Monta Ellis and his demeanor and how he act on a daily and how he show up to work on a daily would lead to the locker room being the same as it is with Steph out the helm? Again, these are all the small things that goes into winning a championship that's not just about, oh man, once you get out there and lace them up on the court and you go play basketball. It's so much bigger than that.
Here is the clinical truth. Talent gets you a lucrative shoe deal and a couple of all-star appearances. System architecture and selfless leadership win you banners. Monta Ellis genuinely thinks he was the system. Jeff Teague thinks the system is just a plug-and-play motherboard. They are both entirely delusional. The Golden State Warriors dynasty was not built on swapping random NBA assets. It was built on a once-in-a-generation anomaly. Draymond knows it, the front office knows it, and the market has priced it in. So are these former players just legally blind to tactical basketball, or are they just looking for podcast clicks to stay relevant? So are these former players just legally blind to tactical basketball, or are they just looking for podcast clicks to stay relevant? Let us be completely honest about the ecosystem we are living in. Every single week, another retired guard opens a microphone, strips away all context of team architecture, gravity, and locker room psychology, and tries to rewrite a dynasty just to get their name trending on social media. They look at box scores from 2012, look at total points per game, and assume that basketball is played on a spreadsheet where any high-usage guard can simply be copy-pasted into a four-time championship machine. Draymond Green exposed this exact delusion on his show, pointing out how absurd it is to ignore the daily habits and selfless character required to keep a franchise together. Think about what Draymond is actually breaking down there. Winning at the highest level is not an isolated video game simulation. It is built on thousands of microscopic details: how a franchise player accepts being coached, how they handle adversity, how they sacrifice their own touches so that role players can thrive, and how the entire organizational culture mirrors that humility. When guys like Monta Ellis or Jeff Teague claim they could just step into Stephen Curry's shoes and rack up rings, they are revealing a profound misunderstanding of what leadership and gravity actually mean in the modern NBA. They think basketball is just an individual showcase, but history remembers the architects, while the podcast analysts fade away into the background noise. Cast your vote in the comments. Class dismissed.